James Toney, just one of the fighters you've seen on TV KO, and we suspect that he'll be back again, probably sometime in October, perhaps, getting ready to shake off that cut and get back to it. For those of you who've been with us since our first telecast, the Battle of the Ages back in April, you know that on the second Friday of every month, there's only one thing you can expect, and that is to expect the unexpected. We've had some surprising fights up to now, and we expect that trend to continue as we move back toward the eastern part of the country for our next showcase event in August, the Test of Courage.
In April, Holyfield battled Foreman on TV KO. In May, America's premier pay-per-view boxing network brought you James Toney. Ray Mercer takes on Tommy the Duke Morrison. Mercer, Olympic gold medalist, WBO heavyweight champion, undefeated, 17 wins, 12 by knockout, puts his title on the line against Tommy the Duke Morrison. 27 wins, 23 knockouts, star of Rocky V. The winner here is in line for a shot at Holyfield's title. Also, WBA cruiserweight champ Bobby Chez takes on Nigerian national hero Bash Ali. Ray Mercer, Tommy Morrison, a test of wills, a test of strength, a test of courage. August 9th, 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific, live on pay-per-view. Call your cable operator to order this pay-per-view event.
Those, of course, heavyweights hoping to one day get a chance at a heavyweight championship. With me now, a man who's responsible for setting up another heavyweight championship fight, Dan Duva, and you have the privilege of setting up the next championship fight for Evander Holyfield. Now it's Mike Tyson. Beginning of the week, we heard George Foreman. What happened so quickly to make it Tyson?
Well, Evander always wanted to fight Mike Tyson. That's been his goal. It's been his dream. Didn't look like Mike Tyson wanted to fight Evander, so our second choice was George Foreman. But when Mike Tyson came around and agreed to terms, that was the only fight. It's the fight the fans want. It's the fight the fighters want. It's going to be one of the greatest fights of all time. What
was the holdup in that? Is it just a lot of posturing on the part of both fighters, promotional rights, that sort of thing that kept it up? Because you know the fan in the street has been clamoring for this fight for a long time.
Just boxing business as usual. Nothing special, nothing unusual. Just everyone trying to make the best deal for themselves and trying to protect their interests. And finally came down to where the two fighters, Holyfield and Tyson, said they want the fight and gave their promoters orders, let's get it on.
What do you think about the respect level that Evander Holyfield has as a champion? He obviously is the undisputed champion of the world, but yet somehow there's a cloud that says, you know, if you don't beat Mike Tyson, you really don't have legitimacy as a heavyweight champion.
Well, he's legitimately the heavyweight champion. He knocked out the man who knocked out Mike Tyson. But Evander recognizes that a lot of people think Mike Tyson's the best, and he's going to go out there and prove them wrong.
And you get a chance to hope a lot of people tune in to watch it. Champions is going to be a record-setting fight, you suspect?
Absolutely. It's going to be right here on TV KO.
All righty. Thank you. Dan Duva, promoter for the upcoming fight between the champion Evander Holyfield and Mike Tyson. There's certainly a great deal of attention being focused on the heavyweight ranks these days. It seems that every direction we turn, we see another heavyweight fighter clamoring for some sort of attention as a legitimate heavyweight champion of the world. Lennox Lewis is one such boxer. He is very successful as an amateur, undefeated, ranked as high as number 4 in the world as a professional. Tonight, he faces another test of legitimacy, this time taking on Mike Hercules Weaver, who's in the twilight of his career, but Lewis is driven by the need to go ahead and win. England has not had a world heavyweight crown in nearly a decade. 3 years ago, a transplanted native returned home. Londoners are now primed for that elusive champion. Lennox Lewis is the emerging superstar, yet some in the UK accuse him of mixed loyalties.
I left England when I was 12 years old and went to Canada to live with my mother because she sent for me, and that's where I started my amateur career.
The 6'5" giant was an immediate smash as an amateur, winning almost every tournament. Competing under the flag of the Great White North, the Olympic Games converted the Cockney Canadian into a serious contender. In 1984, Lewis impressively punched his way to the quarterfinals before being stopped by eventual gold medalist Tyrell Biggs. The Games in Seoul brought him gold and hungry promoters chasing him for his signature. The London-born Canadian effortlessly powered his way past promising American Riddick Bowe. The Olympic prize was the last of his growing amateur awards and a jumpstart to his growing collection of titles as a pro.
Yeah, I moved back to England to turn pro and to win the belt for England because I realized that England didn't really have any upcoming boxers, any upcoming champions.
Lewis has been unbeatable as a pro, exploding into the public eye with 15 wins, 13 by knockout. Last fall, the super heavyweight challenged Jean Genet for the European crown. The 25-year-old Brit jabbed the belt from the Frenchman, stunning the continent. An even bigger test came when he faced Gary Mason. He's the British champ, undefeated in 35 fights with 32 KOs. Lewis launched a powerhouse assault, forcing a stoppage in round 7.
He's taking too much and he's badly hurt. And it's call off.
The young hitting machine is boxing king of Europe and Britain. Closing in on the top 10 contender ranks, he's on the verge of becoming the biggest money-making athlete in the UK. But this developing star is unsatisfied with just 2 belts and Olympic gold.
Still a couple belts out there that have eluded me, and that's the Commonwealth belt and the Canadian belt. I would definitely like to win those 2 belts before going on to go after the world belt.
Tonight, the man with a mission goes toe-to-toe with ex-world champ Mike Hercules Weaver. His sledgehammer punch is like nothing Lewis has faced.
Anybody that steps in the ring and weighs over 200 pounds is dangerous. The only thing I lack is experience, and that's what I'm hoping to gain with this fight. I'm just not pleased with myself yet. I don't think I'll ever be pleased with myself or my performance in the ring until I have that heavyweight belt, world heavyweight belt around me.
The double heavyweight hero believes in destiny and is on course for higher honors. It's time for the heavyweights. Lennox Lewis stepping into the ring against Mike Hercules Weaver. 10-round heavyweight fight. And for the call of the action, let's go to ringside and Lynn Berman. Lynn?
Thank you, Cambrell Marshall and Dan Duva, saying for the first time moments ago definitively that the Tyson-Holyfield fight would be on TVKO, and we, of course, are thrilled about that. November 8th at Caesars Palace. Joe Goosen, are you surprised the way the Tyson-Holyfield machinations came down this week?
Well, I wasn't surprised after you heard the final news, but what threw me for a loop was the day before they had just announced Holyfield-Foreman. And I wasn't real thrilled about that. I kind of wanted to see a Holyfield-Tyson fight myself. I'm a big fan, and I'd like to see that fight. And I think it was a wise choice.
All right,
should be
that's
interesting.
the fight people want to see, and we're happy that it will happen at last. All right, this heavyweight fight we will see tonight here at Lake Tahoe. Lennox Lewis, the European heavyweight champion. How far do you think he is from being the caliber of fighter of a Tyson or a Holyfield?
Well, if you just listen to that piece, Lennox Lewis himself just said, what I need now is more experience. And I believe that myself. I saw the film of he and Mason, and he does. He needs more experience, and this is a good fight for him to gain some of that experience. But I'm looking maybe a year and a half down the road for him. He should be right in the thick of things, and right there alongside a Tyson or a Holyfield.
And Mike Weaver, 40 years old, but a grandpa. How many heavyweight grandpas have we had in the ring? So you can't blame fight fans tonight for being a little bit skeptical about Weaver.
Right. Well, Mike Weaver, though, has come in 15 pounds lighter than he did for his last fight, even though it was a year ago. He looked real focused, didn't he, when we spoke to him today? I thought he did, at least. Lewis and his people are taking him very seriously. So if they're taking him seriously, I should, too. And I think he's got a little bit of a shot, but you got to favor Lennox Lewis in this fight.
Well, he's a 20-1 favorite, Lennox Lewis is. So let's start with Lewis as we take a look at Goosen's corner.
Great. Be happy to. Lennox Lewis, what a great physical specimen he is, and he's got to put that all to use tonight. What he's got to do is he's got to box intelligently early, because being 40 years old, I'm sure Weaver's still got a lot left early on, but extended in the later rounds might be a wise choice for Lewis. And then he's got to pick apart Weaver with that great jab. He's got a huge reach, I think 82-inch reach. He's got to use that tonight, and then he's got to use lateral movement, make Weaver use those 40-year-old legs, try to corner him, try to catch him, and try to tire him out, and then take him out late.
And a look at it, the flag of Great Britain as the 1988 gold medal winner who beat Riddick Bowe, super heavyweights. Here he comes. Lennox Lewis. Great Britain has not had a heavyweight champion in this century. We have 9 years to go in the 20th century, and maybe this man will be the answer. Just 25 years old. And he started fighting in school. He was born in Britain, went to Canada. He won the gold medal as a Canadian. And he started his fighting because the kids in school in Canada were making fun of his British accent.
As if they had any right to make fun of an accent, the Canadians. But yeah, they did. And as a matter of fact, the principal got him, told him, he said, hey, look, you got to stop fighting in school. Get into football, something, boxing. And he did get into boxing, as a matter of fact.
12 of his 15 fights have taken place in England, 2 in Canada, just 1 in the United States in Atlantic City. So this is the second time. And he told us it's important to him to become known in America, to make his mark. He says you have to make it here.
Well, he's got to, definitely, especially if he wants to get into the big money. The people that are going to fill up the arenas and the seats are going to be the Americans, because that's where the big major league fights are.
His spotless record of 15-0 with 13 knockouts. The number of fights he's won or been in. That's the number of fights that Weaver's lost.
Exactly.
Hey, you guys, give him room in this corner, okay?
And let's take a look at Gooson's corner. For the veteran, 19 years in the business, Mike Weaver.
Boy, it's amazing still how great Mike Weaver looks physically. But what he's got to do is he's got to start fast with Lennox Lewis. Maybe catch him by surprise with some of those big left hooks he's got. And then he's got to stay inside on Lennox Lewis. He cannot let him dictate with that great jab and right hand of his. He's got to crowd him at all times. And then rough up the young kid. Let's see how he reacts by getting roughed up and pushed around by a veteran. Let's see what happens.
Mike Weaver began his professional career when Lennox Lewis was 7 years old. Lewis remembers watching the Larry Holmes fight when Weaver gave Holmes a good fight for the title but lost in '79. Weaver is the former WBA heavyweight champion. He beat John Tate in 1980, lost to Dokes in '82, a first-round knockout. Fought twice more for the title against Holmes and Pinklin Thomas, losing those fights. And he says Lennox Lewis is just another fighter. His record, 35, 15, and 1, but he does have those 25 knockouts.
You know, when we went and saw Mike Weaver today, it looked like he had a cold. We walked into his room, it was hot, he had all sorts of liniment all over him, he was sniffling. Let's see if that might affect him tonight.
And our fascinating tale of the tape this evening, Weaver 15 years older, 3.5 inches shorter, 10 pounds lighter, and Lewis with the reach advantage.
Well, let's go to the CompuBox stats here. Average punches per round, 50 thrown by Lewis, 45 by Weaver. Almost comparable there. 21 landed by each, 42% compared to 47% for Weaver. So pretty equal there. The jabs per round by the CompuBox stats. Lewis versus Mason, his last fight, 32, 12 landed with 38%. Weaver versus Thomas, which was 5 years ago, 31 thrown, 14 landed, 45% connect.
In our Nevada State rules, this is a 10-round fight, the 10-point must system, no standing 8 count. The 3 knockdown rule is in effect. You can be saved by the bell only in that 10th round, and only the referee can stop the fight. And now for the pre-fight introductions. Let's go up to the ring, and Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 3 judges assigned to ringside will remain the same for this bout. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from Caesars Tahoe, we move to the heavyweight division. This bout scheduled for 10 rounds. The referee is Vic Draculage. Introducing first, in the blue corner, wearing the black trunks with gold letters and weighing an even 225 pounds, he's from East London, England. This 1988 Olympic gold medal champion in the super heavyweight division is undefeated as a professional with a record of 15-0, 13 KOs. Ladies and gentlemen, Lennox Lewis. And across the ring in the red corner, weighing in at an even 215 pounds, wearing the solid white trunks from Upland, California. His professional record, 35, 15-1, 25 is 35 victories by KO. Ladies and gentlemen, the former heavyweight champion of the world, Mike Weaver.
And look at Weaver's body. Have you ever seen a grandfather look like that?
And he is a grandfather.
All right, gentlemen, you received your
40 years old. What a build on this guy.
Any questions from the chief seconds? All right, remember, obey my commands, protect yourselves at all times. Touch gloves now, let's get to it.
If you want to look for a punch from Weaver, look for that left hook.
That's it.
That's the one. It's a good one, and Lewis knows all about it.
Took out John Tate. Took out Carl the Truth Williams. Took out a lot of guys with that left hook.
Here we go. Round 1 scheduled for 10. And Weaver comes right at Lewis.
Oh, get off the head. Get off the head.
Ducking down.
Get off the head.
Lewis missing with the uppercut. Working the jab, and Weaver stays inside.
Oh, come in. Let go of that head, Lennox. Lennox.
You can see right off the bat, Lennox Lewis does want to box. He wants to keep him on the end of his punches here. See if he can do
Weaver
it.
said he doesn't want to box him. He's just too big for that. Oh! Good right hand from Lewis. Lewis has Weaver up against the ropes. It connects with an uppercut.
The only punch that really landed solidly was that right hand, and Weaver went right into a shell and blocked everything else.
Punch out. Let's go. Punch out of there.
There was a warning in there from Vic Drakulich about holding on and punching at the same time. Already this fight has lasted longer than the Breland affair. Another uppercut from Lewis. Lewis measuring with one hand. Same with the left hand. He's trying to open up, and he gets another warning from Drakulich.
That looked like that right hand took a lot of starch out of Mike Weaver. He's just not as aggressive as he was for the first part of the round.
Weaver now holding on midway through this first round. A low right hand connected from Lewis.
Come on, punch out of
on
there.
the
Punch
hip.
out.
Weaver not doing much of anything here.
Go there. Punch out. Punch out. Let's go.
Lewis rocked Weaver early with a right. Weaver trying to get back into this thing with a minute to go in the first round.
Let go there. Let go. Come on. Punch out. Punch out. Punch out. Hands are free. Punch out.
The urging of the referee, Vic Drakulich, trying to get him to punch out of there.
Well, this is a bad omen for Weaver. If Lennox Lewis can back him up like this, he's pretty much assured of himself of a win here.
Go to him.
See, Weaver, to be successful, has got to back him up like this, but he's got to be a lot more aggressive. He's got to be throwing punches as he comes in.
We've yet to see Weaver connect with much of anything. That advertised left hook hasn't developed yet.
Go in there. Come on. Watch out.
Well, so much for all those muscles. Lennox Lewis really just threw Mike Weaver back with ease into the corner.
And a right hand as the round ends, and a strong one for Lennox Lewis.
Mike, you took this boy's best shot, man. You got to get your punches off, all right? Use your double jab to get in inside. And then get off. If you're looking for opening, you got to make an opening. You hear me? All right, you got to make an opening. This boy's referee's looking at you and everything, man. Don't look for opening. Okay. Make an opening. Double jab, and you get in the inside, move your hands.
All right. Here's early in the round.
There's
Bingo.
that right hand from Lewis.
Right hand landed by Lewis right on the temple of Weaver and stunned him. But Weaver had enough sense to go into a shell. Here's another look. Lennox landing that jab, and bingo, the right hand landed flush right on the temple. But Weaver did go into a good shell and block the rest of the punches from Lennox Lewis.
There's the measuring. There's what Lewis got the warning for.
Right,
and then he connected with the right.
Over the top, and he's pulling his hands down, which is not illegal. Holding behind the head and doing that would be.
They're saying that Weaver landed 5 punches and was outpunched 25-5. I didn't see the 5 that Weaver landed in that first round.
Well, he did land a few weak jabs and some body shots, so you got to give him credit for that. He did land a few short shots on the inside. And when they first came out, Lewis and Weaver banged heads.
Lewis connected with a combination again and connects with the jab. This is all Lennox Lewis here in the early going of the second round. Weaver trying hard and struggling to land body blows.
Punch out. Come on. Let him go.
Well, Terry Claiborne really read Weaver the riot act in the corner. He told him he better start punching, you know, because he knows that's his only chance. Pressure and punching.
He does connect with a left to the body, and Lewis rams a jab right in there, and another left. Lewis connecting with that jab at will here.
Well, Weaver's really not offering much head movement coming in either. He's standing straight up in front of Lennox Lewis with that great reach. He's going to be picking him apart with these long shots from the outside.
Weaver, and he does draw the warning.
See right there, Lennox Lewis should have followed up with that right hand right to the body. Bingo.
The right after he measured him with the left. Another big right hand from Lennox Lewis.
Come on, punch out of there. Punch out of there. Let go of the head.
Another right hand from Lewis. And an uppercut. And then the left. And Weaver's in trouble here in the final minute of the second round. Can he survive it?
Yeah, he does look like he's hurt, but I've seen Weaver play possum before. He may be looking for Lennox Lewis to get a little careless and come out of that crouch with some sort of punch.
They stand right above us.
In fact, he looked like he was in this type of trouble when he knocked out Carl the Truth Williams. Came off the ropes with a great left hook. And here he is.
Weaver comes back. His first flurry of the fight draws a cheer from the crowd. A good left to the body set that up. But then Lewis comes right back with the jab.
You know, he's been around a long time. He wants Lennox Lewis to shoot off some steam here, hopefully get a little bit tired, and then Weaver may make a move in the next couple rounds.
Boy, there were a few moments there, and we didn't think he'd get out of the second round. Another strong overhand right from Lewis.
Well, he's made that move on him 3 times now. He steps over to Weaver's left and drops the right hand over the top.
You gotta cut. Okay. You gotta cut. No, it's not gonna scratch.
No, please don't worry about it.
Listen.
Come here, right.
Don't want you inside with him. You understand me? Don't get inside with him. Outside with him. Outside. When you get him on the corner, you get him on that ropes, take that step over and crack those shots. Okay? Just crack. Remember how we want that crack? Okay? Once you're outside on him, no Lennox. Okay? Let's get it over with now. Okay? Let's get it over with.
Move your head.
Okay? Where's that jab?
Well,
it's coming right over. As soon as you throw that right hand on the ropes, drop down, come with your uppercut. See what I'm saying? Be ready to counter. You letting this guy hit you for no reason.
John Davenport urging Lennox Lewis to stay on the outside and box him, and to keep stepping over to Weaver's left and dropping that right hand over the top. On the other hand, Terry Claiborne told Weaver he's got to start countering when Lennox Lewis steps over, block that right hand that's coming over the top, and come back with a counter uppercut on him. Let's see if he can do it.
Take it off.
They're being urged to take some, perhaps Vaseline off of Lennox Lewis. And now here we go. Round 3 scheduled for 10. Lewis starts out jabbing. He says everything goes off that jab. But he's been told to do it long distance. And Weaver comes on. Kind of falls down into him.
He actually fell over his own legs there.
Hit the wrestler. Okay?
A little bit of wrestling move on the near side.
Well, you got to ask yourself, are those 40-year-old legs he's tripping over, or was that a coincidental trip by each man?
Or size 15 shoes of Lennox Lewis.
Let go, Mike. Let go.
Exactly.
Punch out of there. Hands are free. Let's go. Hands are free.
Lewis missing with the right as Weaver effectively ducked under it. Another strong jab from Lewis.
He's got a real stiff, long jab that looks like he can do a lot of damage because it's the second one he hit him with this round. Every time he lands it, Weaver grimaces.
With a minute gone in the third round, we should note the average length of a Lennox Lewis fight is 3.3 rounds.
Well, you know, when Lennox Lewis is punching, Weaver goes into a defensive mode. I think he should really put the pressure on, like John Davenport, his trainer, said, and keep the punches flowing. They might stop this fight if Weaver doesn't defend himself.
Weaver has shown the ability to take the punch and come back. You're right, he needs to be a little bit more active.
Yeah, certainly does. What I also think Lennox Lewis should do is drop, after that jab right hand, drop to the body, try to sneak in a little lever shot, bring his hands down a little bit because he's keeping his hands up real tight, looking for all those shots to the head.
And Weaver had some success there with the jab. And now Lewis does the same to him.
Let go of the hand. Let go of the hand.
You know, Lennox Lewis, he's getting a little brave because he's really been hitting Weaver from the outside a lot. He keeps his hands a little bit low from the outside. But you'll notice the closer he moves, the higher he brings those hands up. But I'm sure Weaver spots that himself. Let's see if he can take advantage of it.
As we move inside the final 30 seconds of the third round. And the uppercut, the short uppercut. Another warning, holding with the left hand and hitting the uppercut with the right.
Exactly.
It's the third time he's warned him.
It'll probably be the last time.
Go ahead, go ahead.
And that'll do it for an uneventful third round.
Last time for you too.
Well, I think the referee just told Mike Weaver if he another punch strays low, he's going to take a point from him.
I want that angle. I want that.
And with us again tonight, the Nevada State judge, Cindy Barton. And Cindy, how have you scored it?
Lynn, I have Lewis winning 30-27. First round, Lewis rocked Weaver early with the right. Weaver tried to block Lewis's punches unsuccessfully. Second round was pretty much the same, and third, as you can see, pretty uneventful.
All right, thank you, Cindy.
Try to get your hook in there, all right?
Come on now. Come on.
Okay, here's a little repeat of the last round. Both of them standing on the outside. Here's a jab. Bingo. That is a sharp-looking jab. And you see Weaver react to it, takes a step back.
Weaver had one good combination in the second round, and that's really been it for him. Let's see if he can get motivated here in the fourth.
He did land a couple nice little body shots at the very end of that round, and that's what he's got to do more of, try to slow Lewis down.
But that sniping with the jab of Lewis. Weaver trying to get inside of that. Blocked that one effectively. Lewis still doing it long distance. Battle of jabs thus far in the fourth round.
Weaver can't expect to win a fight.
Lewis banging his own gloves together to get himself going.
He can't expect to win this fight by matching jabs with Lennox Lewis.
Absolutely. That's the point. He's got to get more active.
You know, the longer this fight goes, especially in the 7,000-foot altitude, this could be increasingly hard for Mike Weaver to sustain these late rounds.
We're at the Caesars Outdoor Arena. Heavyweights, the European heavyweight champ, Lennox Lewis, and the former WBA heavyweight champ a long time ago, Mike Weaver. That's been all Lewis thus far. Midway through the fourth round now.
Lennox Lewis getting a little marked up around that left eye there. The eyelid and underneath. See, if anything, I think Weaver should be trying to drop some right hands over that jab. Try to time it and come over that jab because he brings it right back to his waist. Lennox Lewis does.
Weaver again content to jab away.
Okay, break it clean. Let's go, break clean, let's go.
The good news for Weaver is he has survived nearly 4 rounds. Bad news is he's going to be behind by 4 rounds.
But besides that good right hand that he took in the first round, he really hasn't taken any clean, hard shots since then. And you got to kind of fault Lennox Lewis for not really turning on the afterburners there. He should really be throwing some combinations and working Mike Weaver over.
Weaver just not using that right hand at all, Joe.
No. See, he's being very tentative. He's staying on the outside. And he's not doing what he told us he was going to do, and that's maul Lennox Lewis.
Well, maybe he had all good intentions in that first round shot. There's a good right hand from Lewis. Maybe it took it out of him.
Well, a good punch like that can make you fight a more cautious fight.
There's a right hand, a rare one, thrown by Weaver in the final seconds of the fourth round. Another round that will go into Lewis's corner. Lennox Lewis firmly in control as we've now fought our way through 4 rounds in Lake Tahoe.
Bam, body shot, and then come here and try this move here and try your uppercut. All right? You haven't worked too much on this guy, so right now you can start making your move. You rock that right hand when he throw a weak jab and try to get to the body. Bam, bam, them hard body shots, that's what we want. All right?
Well, Terry's right. I mean, he's right. He's in this fight. And there is Tony Lopez getting ready to defend his IBF championship. Tony from nearby Sacramento, 2 hours away. A lot of his fans are here. He'll be taking on Lupe Gutierrez.
You know, Terry Claiborne really was saying exactly what we thought. He told him, go over that jab with that right hand, rock, and then go over the jab, and then follow back up to the body. But he should be a little bit more adamant about it.
But he also said what I thought is that Weaver can be a factor in this fight, but he's got to start doing something.
Well, because Lewis is really giving him the opportunity to do something, and he's not taking advantage of it.
Jabs continue to connect from Lewis on another one. Weaver counters with a couple of jabs of his own. It's been the story of this fight after the first round. Just more of the same. But that jab certainly sounds crisp from Lewis.
Here's an interesting stat from the last
Weaver
round.
with a couple of body blows, maybe a little low on one of them, and Lewis comes right back at it.
And that's why Weaver's tentative about coming in, because when he does open up, Lennox Lewis is catching him, and maybe the fight has kind of left Mike Weaver. I don't know. Maybe this may be the end of the road for him, because he's certainly not really being as aggressive as I've seen him in past years. The stat I was going to give you, out of the 72 punches thrown in the last round, only 10 of them weren't jabs. So the majority of the punches thrown in that last round were all jabs.
Weaver has not fought in a year. And I think that ring rust and age may be showing here, although you thought it was a bit of playing possum earlier in the fight. Crowd getting a little bit restless here as they see more of the same now as we approach the latter stages of the 5th round.
It's amazing to really see much redness or
strong right to the body from Lewis.
Or wonder how Lennox Lewis could have so much marking over his left eye, but he is. He's swollen very much. He hasn't really been getting hit on that side much, but he is. He's getting very puffy on his left side.
Why would Lewis be so tentative to throw combinations? I would think he'd come off that jab and really do some damage.
Well, I think he might want to render Weaver a little bit more helpless. Maybe let him run out a little. This is a 10-round fight. Let him run out a little bit more steam. Wait until his hands come down a little bit more, and then go in for the kill. He said he wanted to be cautious and box smartly, and he is doing that. But he's got to give the fans a little bit more, I think.
Caution does not spell entertainment in the fans' minds, as we're now inside 30 seconds to go in the 5th round.
But you know, Mike Weaver really isn't giving him a whole heck of a lot of reason to be cautious.
Right, so go get him, Lennox.
Right, exactly. That's what the corner should be telling him. We get a closer look here. That left eye of Lennox Lewis is definitely closing.
Well, a 5th round complete, halfway through, scheduled for 10. Now they start to work on that eye.
Here you go, Hal.
All right, nothing.
Left eye a little bit.
Don't worry about it. I want to see more on that jab.
But his
You
corner
see it
seems
works
to
now,
say
right?
nothing.
Okay? You see it's working? All right, then. Let's stay with it. I haven't seen the playing field yet, though. Okay? I haven't seen that playing field jab yet. Okay? You understand what I'm saying? I want to see the playing field jab, son.
And this is Lupe Gutierrez, the USBA featherweight champion. He will be battling Tony Lopez in our main event for the IBF Junior Lightweight Championship. Likeable young man Gutierrez is.
That he is.
He's got his 3 young kids and his wife on hand from San Jose, and that should be a good one against Lopez. But here are the stats on this fight.
Right, Lewis throwing 234 punches compared to 196 by Weaver, 97 landing, 48% or 48 punches landing for Weaver.
Here we go, round 6 of a scheduled 10-rounder.
But Terry Claiborne told Mike Weaver to use that right hand to the body a little bit more and see if...
there's a right hand. Well, there's a rare one from Weaver, connected to the head of Lewis.
See if he could bring his hands down a little bit, but...
Lewis showing that puffiness under the left eye, and maybe Weaver trying to go after it. Good right hand from Lewis.
Watch your push.
Weaver's left eye is a little bit swollen on the brow itself too, but it doesn't look like it's really closing or anything. It just looks a little swollen. Well, he's trying to do what Terry Claiborne, Mike's trying to do what Terry Claiborne told him to do, and go with that right hand to the body, and then switch up and go over the top every so often. See if it can pay off for him.
Oh, and Weaver's down. The right hand from Lennox Lewis.
5, 6, 7.
And Weaver's not going to make it.
9, 10.
A stunning sixth-round knockout. The right hand from Lennox Lewis. And that is it.
He lulled him asleep. Lulled him to sleep, and bingo, came out of nowhere with that great right hand right off the jab. And that landed flush.
At a minute 5 of the 6th round, Lennox Lewis ups his record to 16-0 with 14 knockouts.
And I hope this is it for Mike Weaver, seriously, Len.
He's helped to his stool. He was hit hard in the first round. Strong round for Lewis, and then it became a battle of jabs as Weaver's being checked over. Now Weaver seems okay. And we'll have some replays for you of a terrific right hand from Lennox Lewis.
There's Weaver, bang, right over Weaver's real slow jab. It really was. His head was poking up right on top of that jab, and Lennox Lewis came over the top. Here it is again. Weaver pulling out of a clinch here, drops his left hand, bang, right on the chin. That was a beautiful right
Really
hand.
a beautiful one-punch knockout.
Well, his patience paid off for him, you know?
Stay right there, stay right there.
And Lewis was really in a position of not having a whole lot to gain. I mean, if he beats the older man, well, people say that was what was expected of him. But a strong right hand from Lewis did it. Let's go up to the ring to Michael Buffer for the announcement of the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Vic Draculich reaches the count of 10 at 1 minute 5 seconds of the 6th round. The winner by knockout victory, still undefeated now, 16-0 with 14 KOs. From East London, England, Lennox Lewis.
And Weaver is still being attended to as he sits on the stool in the ring as they cut the gloves from him. 105 of the 6th round. As Lewis has had knockouts in all but 2 of his fights, and you can see from the numbers, Weaver tried to keep up in the number of punches thrown, but Lewis landing 43%. And, you know, I know the right hand won that fight, but that left hand jab, Lennox Lewis, just terrific throughout the course of the fight. Really doing the damage to Mike Weaver. And Joe Goosen is up in the ring with the winner, Lennox Lewis. Take it away, Joe.
Yeah, and a big right hand to end that fight, Lennox. It took you a while to finally land that. You landed one in the first round. You took your time a lot in this fight. Was that your plan?
That was my plan because I realized of his age and everything. I wanted to go a little distance before I looked for to pick it up a bit. And when my coach said to pick it up, that was the round to pick it up in.
Right. I know earlier you had told me that you wanted to be patient. You didn't want to make any mistakes and get caught with a stupid punch. Now I know the fans kind of got on you a little bit. Did that bother you at all?
No, it didn't, because I realized he's old and he's cagey. And sometimes it looked like he was hurt and he was falling against the ropes, but I never got suckered into that. I took my time until he exposed himself, and then he exposed himself, and I ended it.
Right, so you've seen him before in his past fights. You saw him play possum before, and right, he snuck off the ropes with that big left hook. You didn't want that to happen to you, obviously.
No, definitely not, because I knew he was going to want to do that because of, limited skills. I call that my Riddick Bowe punch.
That's right. That'll live in infamy after the gold medal event there. Where do you go from here, Lennox? I know you yourself think you've got a little bit more. You need a little bit more experience. What do you want to do? Where do you want to go from here? And where are you going to get that experience?
Well, I just need a couple more fights. I'm going to go over to England in September and box Glenn McCrory. Then hopefully come back over to the States and box a top-ranked American to gain that experience. Because, like I said, I'm still learning, and I want to gain that experience before the big one.
When you do come back to the States, who would you like to meet? What American fighter would you like to meet?
We don't really know. It's up to the promoter. It's up to my team. I'd like to thank my team: Courtney Shan, Harold Knight, and John Davenport.
They did a wonderful job. Yeah. So now you're going to take a little time off here? You're heading back to England? What's your plans?
Well, I'm going to take a little time off and rest and come back and just straight back into the gym and just practice, review the tapes, and just keep practicing because practice makes perfect.
All right. When would you like to eventually, and I know that if you keep on winning, it's going to happen, when would you eventually like, and when do you think it's going to come about you meeting maybe Evander Holyfield or Mike Tyson?
Well, I say, that'll come when it's due. I say within about 12, 15 months. As long as I keep practicing, keep on learning, keep on fighting.
Well, if you ever become heavyweight champion, and I'm sure you might one day, you're going to represent the boxing world very well. You're a likable young man and a gentleman, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome, Lennox. Len, back to you ringside.
All right, thank you, Joe. And I think as the American boxing audience gets to know Lennox Lewis a little bit more, they'll get to like him. He's very charismatic, as you heard, very articulate, and he certainly can punch as he wins once again with the knockout in the 6th round. And we will take one more look at the knockout that did it, that right hand at 105 of the 6th, as Lennox Lewis polishes off Mike Weaver.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause.
And there it is. And Lennox Lewis, who told us earlier and again reiterated to Joe that he wants to perhaps fight for the title 12 to 18 months down the road. We asked him, though, today if he thought that perhaps he could fight Tyson or a Holyfield, and he said, well, I could fight anyone when I'm given enough warning and I know I'm ready, but he said he'd really like to go for the title a year and a half down the road. So that's the story on this fight from ringside. Let's go back to Cambrell Marshall for our ringside report.